Hi guys, welcome back. Today I have a very different video for you. You may notice in my recent videos, or if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, that I recently got my nose pierced. I have a really small diamante stud in my nose, and a lot of you guys have been asking me if it hurt, what my experience was, if I planned to get a piercing, was it a spur of the moment decision, and what the whole experience was like, and also aftercare and that kind of thing. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video because I've had a few requests, and to be quite honest with you, it wasn't completely what I expected in some areas, so I thought that this video might be helpful for some of you guys that are contemplating getting a piercing, and I just wanted to answer a few of your questions that I've had in comments in previous videos and that kind of thing. I'm going to begin with how and when it came about. Basically, I've had my piercing for about 3 days now, so it's pretty fresh. The info in my mind is really fresh and reliable, and I can kind of draw from my experiences really freshly, I guess. I went to Manchester with my mum shopping, and it was in no way kind of a decision that I made to do it that day. I've always wanted to get my nose piercing. My sister has her nose pierced and it looks super cool, but I always kind of felt like, I don't know if I'll pull it off. I don't have the same shape of face. My sister's face is very round, mine's quite long, and I never thought I would completely pull it off, and that was one factor. So I've always kind of ummed and ahed. I've wanted it done for years now, but I've just never had the courage to go and just do it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it because I really, really want to. I absolutely love it. I think it's just so subtle. I'm not one of these girls that's ever going to get like their septum done. I'm never going to have anything terribly dramatic, and that's the same when it comes to tattoos and that kind of thing, just because I'm more of a minimalist type of person. Even though I would love a half sleeve, I just don't have the guts to do something quite as dramatic as that, because that's not something that you can go and change quite easily. That is something that once you have it, you can't rectify it, you can't go back, which is why my tattoos took a lot more contemplating and a lot more thorough thought process than my piercing did. I have 3 tattoos in total. You may have seen on my Instagram or just in my videos that I have like a dragonfly here. I also have a tattoo on my foot which hurt like a bitch, and I have some stars going up my hip, which I do like. You always have to contemplate when you're thinking about having a piercing or you're thinking about having a tattoo, those kind of thoughts, like how are you going to feel about it in years down the line, you know, when that's not in fashion anymore and that kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't a decision that I made lightly, but at the same time I didn't plan to do it that day. It's just always been something that I've wanted to do, but I've just kind of felt like, am I ever going to be able to pull it off? You know, I'm a mum, is it going to look cool? Am I that kind of person that can pull it off and that kind of thing? So anyway, really happy with it, love it, one of the best decisions I ever made. I really, really do like it, which is a great relief. Like I said, it's one of those decisions that you shouldn't really take lightly. What I will always say to you is go and make sure that you're going to visit a licensed piercer. Make sure they have the documents clearly displayed, make sure that they're using fresh needles that have come out of a packet that you've seen them open. You know, be really thorough in what you're checking. Make sure that you take your identification with you, because if you look under the age of 16, unless you have your parent with you, you need identification to get your nose pierced. They didn't ask me for it, sadly. I think I'm getting to that point now where I don't need my ID anymore, but yeah, make sure you have your identification with you, because if you are under the age of 16, they will not be able to do a piercing without parental consent. And just make sure that the surroundings are clean, make sure that you're comfortable. Ask any questions that you have. Don't just go in there, kind of get on the table and that's it. If you have any questions or if you're feeling anxious, speak to the person that's doing it, because sometimes they can put you at ease. So as I said, I went in there to have my nose pierced, and I decided to have it done on my right side, which is quite strange because most of the time people tend to get them on their left. I asked him if there's a specific side you should get it done, and he said it's just personal preference. They basically make a little pen mark on your nose and tell you to kind of take a deep breath in, and then they pierce your nose for you. They use a needle. I actually thought they used a gun like they do with your ears, but now I think about that, that's probably a lot less practical than using a needle, and it's a lot less sterile. I think that tattoo parlours and piercing shops that do use a gun for nose piercings are not as hygienic, because they can't really clean that area. It's not as sterile, whereas if you use a needle, it's a completely new needle and you know that it's completely sterilised and brand new, and you don't have to worry about contamination and that kind of thing. So always make sure that they're using a needle, and if they don't, I personally would not get my piercing there. I would never get my nose pierced unless it was a needle that I saw them get out of the packet. And also make sure they're wearing gloves, make sure they sanitize their hands before the gloves and everything like that. Just make sure you're completely comfortable with the degree of hygiene that they're using. Okay, so in terms of your questions, the main question was, did it hurt? I was expecting a degree of pain. Like, I feel like when you go into these situations, whether it's a tattoo, a piercing or childbirth, you are expecting a degree of pain. And I have had a lot of people say to me, did it hurt? And yeah, it really, really, really hurt. It's not something that is a prolonged amount of pain. Like once it's in, it's done. But that sharp pinch that you feel makes your eyes water like nothing else I've ever experienced, and it is very, very painful. And I have a lot of people saying to me, but you've been through childbirth, you've had tattoos, like why is it so painful? But all I can say to you is it's a different sort of pain. With childbirth, you have that kind of adrenaline running through your body, knowing that by the end of that labour you're going to have a baby at the end of it. And I know that you'll have your piercing and you'll think it looks super cool, but there's something about your body that can deal with childbirth. It's a natural process. It's something that women have been doing for years, and it's just your body kind of knows what to do, and you just listen to your body and it kind of happens. I think it's something for me that I really wish that I'd done more videos on, like my pregnancy, you know, vlogged it a bit more and kind of talk about my experiences with labour and my pregnancy. So if you'd like any videos on that, please let me know, and I'd love to do them. I had hyperemesis as well, which is something I also thought about doing a video on, which is severe sickness in pregnancy. So again, if anyone's interested in any kind of pregnancy or birthing related videos, then please let me know and I'll film them for you. But yeah, nose piercing, because it's one area and they're kind of pushing the needle through, it is an intense pain in that area. And you will know from your body, I guess, that the nose, particularly around the ending here, is so sensitive, and the amount of nerves that you have in the bottom of your nose is insane. So basically when they pierce it, when they put the needle through, it really hurts, and what you'll notice is your eyes water to a point where you look like you've just been crying everywhere, and it does hurt. But once that needle has gone through, they then have to thread the kind of jewellery through and kind of tie that, and that hurts as well because you've just had that pain, but you're not allowed to touch your face, so you have to keep your hands firmly down. And even though the first thing you want to do is kind of start wiping your eyes, you can't do. You've just got to completely keep your hands down until they're completely finished. So I opted, you can have a ring, I opted for a little stud with a diamante, but you can have like a ball, you can have a ring, and you can have a stud like mine, depending on what your preference is. But I chose this, and it was very, very quick. Once the needle had gone in and the earring had been threaded, they just put the back on, screwed it on. I think it was kind of like a hook on the inside, and then that was it, it was done. Also gave me a pamphlet of paper which explained all the aftercare on there, what I needed to do with my piercing and how I needed to maintain it to make sure I didn't get infection or anything like that, because it's not the easiest thing to maintain. Like a piercing is not the easiest thing to care for and look after, and again, that's something that you need to consider, especially if you're a person that wears makeup. That is something that you need to consider as well, because you're not allowed to get any makeup or anything around the piercing for at least 10 weeks. You have to be really, really careful with any toners that you're using and everything like that. So I have developed a few little tricks that have helped me out. So obviously I'm wearing a full face of makeup, but what I do when I get to my nose area, I basically just put nothing on there, and I will just dot very gently around it with concealer, because I do get some discoloration here. But in terms of the piercing or anywhere near around it, I just do not touch. So don't cover it up with anything, just leave it. If you're still at school and you're one of those people that's going to have to end up covering it with a plaster, again, that's not ideal. Wait till the summer holidays, wait till you have about 6 to 8 weeks off, if you can. Obviously it's not possible for everybody, but just consider the fact that you don't want to cover it up, because at the end of the day you want it to heal, you want air to get to it and everything like that. And also when it comes to toning and skincare, be very careful when you're washing your face, and just be really mindful of it in general. Like, you have to consider the fact also that when you yawn, your nostrils will kind of flare out naturally like this, and that hurts. Like, it doesn't hurt me anymore, and like I said, it was only 3 days ago, but at first that really hurt. So yawning, just try to yawn as best you can. Maybe put your fingertips over your nose pieces here so they don't kind of expand as much, I guess. Sneezing will hurt to a degree until a couple of days after. Everyone's experiences are completely different. I'm just telling you guys what I have felt. I know that some people have said they felt pain for weeks and weeks down the line. I'm on day 3 or 4 now, and I do not feel any pain. If I catch it, of course I'll feel pain, but it doesn't hurt to yawn, it doesn't hurt to eat. So, you know, I'm really lucky in that sense. What I would also suggest is having some antibacterial hand gel on you at all times. Whether you have one in the home and then you buy a little one for your handbag, you want to make sure that whenever you're going in or around your piercing, your hands are completely sterile. And I use the Carex aloe vera hand gel, which claims to kill 99.9% of bacteria in seconds. You don't need any water, you don't need to rinse it. You basically put a pump on your hand, rub it in, completely massage it all over your hands, making sure you get into the middle as well, and then you can go on to clean your piercing or apply your makeup. But just make sure no matter what you do, when you go near that area, your hands are completely sterile and, you know, self-explanatory, you don't want infection. When it comes to cleaning and caring for your actual piercing, what you need to do is you need to be soaking your piercing for at least 15 minutes in salt water morning and night. Himalayan sea salt or regular sea salt. Get some sterilised water in a bowl, let it cool slightly, like don't dip your nose in boiling hot water, make sure it's kind of lukewarm. Put your salt in and sit and kind of hold your nose into the water. It's so difficult to find a bowl or to find a little container that can just fit that area where you're getting water all over yourself. What I would suggest is just putting yourself a top on that you're not too bothered about, because it is going to get slightly wet, and just sitting there, setting your iPhone for 15 minutes and just let it sit in the water. For cleaning it, just kind of around that time, like if you, what I do is I have some salt water at all times on standby that's kind of in my fridge that I just warm up, and then I use these little Q-tips which I keep in this sterilised little pot, and the top end of this is thicker than the bottom, so I use the thinner end to go round the piercing with salt water, just to make sure that you can get anything that's accumulating around the stud. I've not had anything actually, but I clean it anyway, and then I use the thicker end to go inside the nostril and just to clean in and around the area. And that's pretty much it. So that's how I care for my piercing. I hope you guys all found this helpful. Please comment down below with any questions that I've not covered and I'll make sure I answer them for you. Also, don't forget to let me know if you would like any pregnancy videos, like my experiences with childbirth, my experiences with hyperemesis and that kind of thing, and I'll make sure to get them filmed for you. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you all found this interesting and useful, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!